My name is Elisha Mancini-Castor, and we will be doing a video today with Reverend Connie Beth Grady for the First United Metaphysical Chapel. Hello, Connie.
Hello.
So first, let's start with the name of the chapel and metaphysical. So what does the word metaphysics mean?
Actually, metaphysical means, in our chapel anyway, looking beyond the physical for answers, looking beyond the physical, the unseen, because no matter what happens in life, it's that universe that's within us, how we think, feel, and have our being as to what manifests in the outer world for us. So it's looking within, finding that peace within, so that that peace and that joy and that abundance can be manifested in our outer world. It's also learning how to act instead of react. It's becoming whole and united and understanding that everyone, everywhere, we're all children of God. And in that, no matter what race, no matter what religion, we're all connected in that divine essence.
Wonderful. So the beliefs of the church sound similar to the law of attraction. Is that connected to metaphysics?
Absolutely it is. In the law of attraction, some people speak about how to manifest wonderful things, homes and material things. We take it a step farther. We go within. A lot of our church talks about and teaches us how to connect to that divine essence, to awaken ourselves to a spiritual path. So it's a lot about spirituality also.
Wow. Could you give an example, if someone were to come to the church, maybe what a theme or a topic of a sermon would be?
Well, when I'm on anyway, normally I get an impression early in the morning from Spirit as to what I'm to talk about. Just a little hint. Sometimes I don't. But a few weeks ago, I woke up with the word prayer in my mind, in my heart. And so the more I thought about it, more inspiration came about prayer, because Spirit has taught us that prayer is actually every thought we think. So it's important that we keep our thoughts positive and wholesome and loving, if that's what we want to manifest in our life. And it's also learning how to be grateful and joyful, awakening that part of that divine essence within us. So the lessons would be around some of these subjects.
Okay. So you speak of spirit, and I noticed on your website that you're a spiritualist organization.
Yes, many years ago, we went under the name Spiritualist. Actually, through spirit communication, we were directed at that time to switch the name of our church to First Church of Spiritual Science, because the name Spiritualism had a negative connotation to many people. They didn't understand what it was. We're really a very spiritual group. Also, there's a science, a spiritual science to it. So that was the reason for that name. And then as we grew, we changed our name to Divine Metaphysics.
So is spiritualism a religion?
Spiritualism is a religion, a science, and a philosophy.
When did you become a spiritualist?
I became a spiritualist in 1969. I was on a quest to find God because I grew up in the Methodist Church. My father had been a Methodist minister. I had been married to a Methodist minister. However, I could not find my experience of God that I wanted. After being disappointed in religion, I was no longer Methodist. And after much searching in different religions, I ended up in the Spiritualist church. When I walked in the door, I felt something I'd never felt before. I felt this vibration of love and peace that drew me in. When I first went to that church, not knowing what it was, because at that time it had a spiritualist name on it, I thought, oh, I'm afraid to go in. And so I sat in my car for 15 minutes. And finally I thought, well, what can happen in there? I can always get up and walk out and run away. I was so delighted. I heard things in that first church service and in the healing service. I felt a spiritual reaction within me that I had never felt before. I heard a philosophy that I could live with. And once I entered that door and put things into practice that I heard about, my life changed for the better completely. And I've never been the same.
So what inspired you to start your own church?
Well, my husband and I moved here 18 years ago. And while we attended several metaphysical churches that had similar philosophies, none of them spoke of spirit communication and the spirit within ourselves. And after a while, myself and some other people who had moved here from Indiana, we became so homesick for the church that we had left behind. And so this church came up for sale, and we checked into the price, and after checking for a year and a half, they finally lowered the price to a place where we could purchase the church. It was somehow a miracle.
Wow, that is a miracle. So when you talk about spirit communication, I know something also on your website talks about mediumship. And so could you give a brief description of what mediumship is?
Mediumship speaks about we all have the faculties within us to sense spirit. Mediumship is when a person is a medium, they're able to channel inspiration, thoughts, or messages from the spirit world to someone in the physical world. It is, everyone have these faculties to greater or lesser degree. Some people are clairvoyant, which means seeing with the spiritual eyes. Other people are clairaudient, which means they hear with the spiritual ears. Some other people just sense things. They have a knowing. And yet other people have dreams. There's many forms of mediumship. And so in our mediumship development class, what we do is we have meditation and healing and different things to allow the students to prime the spiritual pump, to become aware of how to receive and how to give.
That's wonderful. So you are saying that everyone is a medium.
Everyone is a medium to greater or lesser degree.
And so what does the church use, how does the church use the practice of mediumship during the Sunday service? Well,
our Sunday service first starts with a healing service from 11 to approximately 11:25, 11:30, which is a very lovely service, and with a guided meditation. Then we go into the regular service, which is much like any ordinary service. We have a call to worship, we have an opening song, we have a sermon or a topic that is given, a lesson for the day, we have an offertory, and then we have this time where we sing a happy song, we raise the vibration, and 3 mediums each Sunday will give messages to people in the congregation. It's just something that we feel is proving the continuation of life. It's something very important because when people are not afraid to die, they're not afraid to live.
Very nice. So you speak of healing. What exactly is hands-on healing?
Hands-on healing it's a form of mediumship, actually. And it's when someone can give themselves over spiritually and connect to this divine essence, which is God energy. And they will have a spirit guide working with them, a healing sister, or someone from the White Brotherhood or Sisterhood, perhaps helping with a healing service. And this divine energy is channeled to a person who is seated in a chair in front of them. It's a very lovely thing. You can feel a warm energy coming from a medium who is a healer's hands. You can actually feel it penetrating your body. And it does many wonderful things. It helps with healing the body, but also the mind and the spirit.
Wonderful. So what can a new person that hasn't been to a spiritualist church expect when they come to a Sunday service?
Well, first of all, I'm delighted to say our congregation is very sweet, very lovely, and I can honestly say that people love each other here. So when you come into the door, you will be greeted by someone who is very friendly, very loving. We're very excited to meet people because when you understand that we're all spiritual beings, we're very happy to meet someone else. You will probably feel this connection when you walk in. You'll probably feel the vibration of love because that's what we hear from most people when they come in. Oh, it's a wonderful feeling here. We even had one lady who walked in the door and she started crying. And my husband went to her and said, "Is everything okay?" And she composed herself for a moment and she said, "Oh yes, it's just, I've never felt this feeling before. I walked in, it's so beautiful here, and it feels so wonderful here. I feel like I've just experienced heaven." So these things are not unusual here.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for the interview, Connie.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Okay.